Here we are again with those ninjas who go and make me spend extortionate prices on boats. But instead of ranking the nasty, vile antagonists that plague the world, I'm gonna be ranking all of the less nasty protagonists. So what classifies as a protagonist or a hero character? Someone who is portrayed in a positive light that actively helps the main characters, that has had a decent enough amount of screen time, or they're just interesting enough to talk about. So sorry to any ship captain fans in the audience. Got 117 entries to get through this time, so let's talk about Lego figures for over an hour. Also, this video will include spoilers for the newest released batch of episodes, so be careful. You better be careful. So what is the worst protagonist? The supporting character who only supports my steadily decreasing mental health whenever they're on the screen. This stupid ball. Lobo is a fitting name because I feel like I'm being actively lobotomized whenever this metal sphere hovers on the screen and starts going Lobo, Lobo. It's literally all he does. I'm gonna lobo you through a basketball hoop. He's like this magical purple knob where he just shows up uninvited several times, taking up the 22-minute runtime venting about his lack of parental affection or advertising his business.
A retro gamer.
Shut up, Lobo. Even becomes evil at one point. Should have put him on the villains list. Looks like he just fell off the side of GLaDOS. Put that thing in the incinerator this instant. Lobo, the first scene that this guy is in, Master Chen suddenly, out of nowhere, declares a challenge that none of the contestants would have known about. And whilst Jay is just naked in a hot tub, he instantly comes in and starts attacking him. He was already there. He was watching Jay in the hot tub. Predator, that Lobo's been to Chen Island quite frequently, could team up with Narakan and make the dodgy duo, the permanently prohibited from public parks pair. Actually, according to the Ninjago wiki, he was seen in the Jin Blade dimension. Narakan really hit him with the "stay out of my territory." Doesn't help that his elemental power is restraining people with vines. Horrible, foul character. Give him a Vengestone ankle bracelet that goes off whenever he goes near Darkley's boarding school.
Misako.
The only reason I'm even including you on here is because people would wonder where you are. I've already spoke about her in depth in the other video, but basically she's a horrid parent. Ditched her kid at a rundown school to go and collect the scrolls to get more knowledge about the devil. Scrolls that conveniently left out the part where he comes back after a couple of years as a Trojan Bitcoin miner on Borg's MacBook Pro, and the other time where he comes back as a salt lamp. Also in a Ninjago movie, which is a thing I neglected to mention in the last video,
Where are you going?
they replaced her with Coco, who, unlike Misako, is a goated parent, dropped her warrior ways to raise her son. If it was Misako, you know she would have sodded off and dumped him at that bloody high school where they harassed Lloyd for being in the Garbadon bloodline. If I was in the same class as the son of what is essentially a notorious crime boss, the last thing I would be doing is messing with them. Kidnapped and buried in the sea of sand. Also, she's an unfaithful wife, cheating on your husband with his own brother. At least she didn't take the kids in the divorce, just left him in the education equivalent of a council estate. The Month's Queen. Some of you said I should put the Month's Queen on the villain ranking, and you know what? You were right! The only reason I didn't is because by the time I made it to Masters of the Mountain, I was decomposing in my chair, completely burned out of Ninjago after watching the triple whammy of that was seasons 10, 11, and 12. So Masters of the Mountain just felt like I was falling down a hole for an extended period of time, and I'd forgotten the Month's Queen was even in it. So what does the Month's Queen do? Well, whilst her people are being kidnapped and forced to work in the mines by the Skull Sorcerer, she's just trying to hit on Jay and scrapping Nia for him. If you want to break them up, you should just make them do one personality compatibility test. Jay did not help much during this. Anyway, the Queen learns her lesson that racism is bad and we should be beefing with the guy with the evil green skulls instead of the funny purple goblins. Chancellor Gulch, another Master of the Mountain character that was also quite antagonistic. With the way the world's going, I often think that national policies would be better dictated by racing slugs rather than voting for it. I bet us Brits would still be allowed to use Spotify without doxing ourselves if the brown slug was on the case. However, Gulch, much like his heated race war counterpart, is an abysmal leader. Half his species goes missing and he decides the best course of action is to use up an entire episode throwing rocks at the only people that can help him and then try to get to kill them. He also comes back in Dragon's Rising. Why?
Quite offensive.
Just what the Ninjago community was striving for. We got Chancellor Gulch in this series before Pixel, before Garmadon, even before Cole and Jay. That's really funny. Korg ran. I don't like the Uply or the Lowly or whatever the hell they're called very much. I get what they were going for with the whole Dungeons and Dragons thing, but I'm under the age of 40 and have a healthy relationship with my family, so I haven't played that game. So to me, this is just Karloff, but worse. Don't get me wrong, I like Karloff, he's a funny guy, but this Korgran fellow, I don't care. He speaks in the third person and he thinks his ex could talk. Worst member of the Lowly. Also, they did this weird flash animation looking thing with him and the rest of these free goofballs for reasons I do not know. They kind of look like movie Star Planet characters. Plunder. Oh look, it's another member of the uppers, the uppy wuppies. The ups! UPS. What's this one's wacky gimmick? He's a thief. He thieves and he steals. And his actions are controlled by the dice. He's a gambler. Crippling gambling addict. Also his Go Animate form looks kind of odd. Fungus! Whenever this guy appeared on the screen, I'd say to my friends, "That's a really moldy wizard." Makes sense he does some Harry Potter-ass magic because he looks like he's been in direct contact with J.K. Rowling's walls. This is the second ranking video in a row where I've mentioned J.K. Rowling's moldy wall. He does mushroom magic where he puts mushrooms in his hat and he magics. Look, I don't like the supply. What? My phone auto-corrected Uply to supply. Anyway, they are the most nothing of nothing. I have the most blank of expressions whenever they appear on the screen. Also, Fungus kinda reminds me of Game Chap and Bertie. So he gets put above the other two. Adam. Adam is cool unlike the rest of the Uply, but the only reason he's down so low is by association. Also, I have severe arachnophobia, so sadly this is racially motivated. I'm sorry, Adam. Fungus killed his entire family and stole him as a baby. Grim facts. I ain't buying this Blizzard Samurai hypnosis thing. This man stomped out these villagers' fire with glee, fully knowing he was about to condemn them to a slow, agonizing, cold death. Oh, but he helps out against Vex and the Ice Emperor. Yeah, because he saw an opportunity to rise to power once again. Literally has the word grim in his name. A grim fact. Milk Man? What? Who is this? Why does he look like that? Why does his chin take up 2/3 of his face? He appears like once in Rebooted and never again. Was put on the back of a milk carton like a lost child. Is he a hero? Probably not. Is he a villain? No. The emblem of true neutrality. The pinnacle of detachment from the world that only a Ninjago citizen could experience.
Scientists have determined that the universe was created by a
7 cosmic frauds?
Big Bang.
Other source dragons. These are like a council of gods that do absolutely nothing except go, oh, can't meddle with mortals because don't really feel like it. Also, they are the source of elemental powers. Apparently you can just ascend to be a source dragon, which is what Fundy Huandi wanted to do. Basically, they're a bunch of lazy pricks that could solve every conflict in the series with a thought, but have their PNGs shoved up their JPEGs too much to bother with it. Also, the strength source dragon might be the evil orange spectre that's working with Lord Raz. 2 of the source dragons are higher up on the list though, because the rest of them suck. Flo is alright, but I can't be bothered to make a separate entry for them, so sorry. One of them is dead. Cole and Freck uncover a god's corpse in the desert. And they're still like, oh, nah, fun to fang fellow, nah, it'll be fine. And then when the ninja stops their 2-dimensional asses from being put in a paper shredder by him, they're like, that's it, you're an enemy of Christ. I'm taking away your powers. Go sit in distant, separate realms and think about what you've done. Also, half of them just bloody resign. Can't believe the merged lands are governed by the Tories. Thunderfang still had a longer tenure than Liz Truss. Craig the Yeti, he's gonna Craig. I found it funny when he played on the video game. Also, his entire family got brutally killed by a tyrannical regime. This is the face of a man with nothing to lose and nothing to gain. A dangerous concoction of anguish and rage. Also, his name makes me chuckle because I think about Craig the Mailman from Dan TDM. I think Dr. Traoris would make a compelling Ninjago antagonist. Wait, his name's Craig? What? Why have I just been calling him Craig? Also in Season 3, Part 2, this Fritz kid gets scared when they see a Yeti mask, which implies that Craig, the last Yeti, has attacked him and possibly his family. Ronan, I've gone over this flip-flopping financial failure last time, but if you need a reminder, he's only a protagonist like half the time. One day he'll be throwing all his money at a shed to stop a Hot Topic ghost from unleashing the embodiment of hell itself, and the next day he'll be tying up falsely prosecuted innocents for $4 and a packet of ninja chips. Basically, as a hero, he's about as reliable as a public bus. Overpriced, doesn't arrive for 8 seasons, and when it does, it's loud and full of ratty children playing TikToks at full volume, and a giant money-laundering wooden sea serpent. Arc Dragon of Focus. Barely even a character. Basically just a puppet for the source dragons to play cool kaiju fights. Arc Dragon of Focus. More like Ford Focus, because that's all it is. A vehicle. It does go, thanks for dealing with Fundy, guys. God might be a bit upset at you, but I'll plead your case. Reduce their sentence from eternal damnation to having their bloody powers removed for the 89th time, which has happened so frequently that it might as well be the biblical punishment equivalent of a 20 quid fine. Ash, the Elemental Master of Smoke. The Elemental Masters were kind of just sort of there. Like, a couple of them did stuff, but most of them just sat there eating up Ched's lies. Win my tournament. That is not. Win my tournament and I will give you my powerful stick. The only thing you're winning is a sandbag to the noggin. Also, he might be dead, because Cinder is the master of smoke now, and only one elemental master at a time, mostly. Either that or Cinder is his son, in which case, terrible job at raising your child. Should have monitored that man's internet access before he got radicalized by Lord Raz. Gleck. All the geckos have such funny names. Hazardor gonna be chattering those green teeth when Ginkle shows up. But this isn't about Ginkle. This is about Gleck, who just scurries around people's homes in an ominous cloak, carrying around a picture of Cole's dead mother. Literally a wall goblin. Looks like a background character on Smiling Friends. Literally 2 letters away from being named Glep. Shade. Hello guys, it's me, Shade. I'm evil because of the shadows. I'm going to win the tournament. I am the spy. It's me. No, it's not Skylar. It's me. Another elemental master that is presumably dead in Dragon's Rising. They try and make him this red herring, but he just has horrendous social skills. Probably fooled some kid, but not me. I'm too smart for this infant baby Lego show. Mert. I tell you what, Mert needs to shut the hell up. He just puts the letter M in front of words. Mo. Here's an M word for you, Mert. Mediocre. Don't give a shit about you, Mert. The only reason you're up here is because I find your name funnier than Gleck. Creole. I made this list like 2 months ago, and when writing the script, I was like, hang on, who's Creole? It's the iconic Ninjago character who owns the beloved Ninjago location Scrap Heap. Gen Z Ed and Edna, except Ed's transitioned and Edna's a horde of rats. While she acts villainous sometimes, she drags that orb bastard to her and starts demanding money off him, making her a pillar of virtue and morality in the Ninjago community. Also, she only wanted the money because that purple prat stole her rat. Poor Creole's just associated with some of the most pestiferous characters in this show. Beatrix Favre, he dies. League of J's. Can't believe Unagami's got them fake J's. Like the equivalent of raiding a VR chat server with meshing avatars. Whoa there, Unagami, don't shoot Kai. He's got phantom sense. Why would they cosplay as Jay? Not to spoil the rest of the list, but he's definitely the worst ninja to me. Guys, is that a primordial entity from the dawn of time? I think I might have urinated at this information. Not to say he's bad though. He's still ranked very high on this list. Griffin Turner, Elemental Master of Speed. The only memorable thing about him is his name.
I'm Griffin Turner, the Master of Speed.
Also, I feel like his element is really powerful. Like, what is stopping him from just sprinting directly into Chen and reducing him into a cloud of bloody vapor? Morals is instant, Griffin. A painless death. It's the most merciful thing you can do to a man like Chen. Also, he shows up in Season 9 and again turn Garmadon into a cloud of Drake Devourer Venom and Oni Dust. Source Dragon of Energy. Oh, nah, guys, I can't get out because it'll destroy all the realms. Yeah, that's the real reason a powerful god like me can't get out of a big hamster ball. What a bunch of frauds. He's ranked higher than the other Source Dragons because at least he does something by making Lloyd a conduit. Twitchy Tim. More like Snitchy Tim. In the big 200 quid Crossroads set, they gave this character a whole ass mech. Truly, how did we ever live without the Tim suit? But I don't really know what to say about this guy. He just has electrically induced dementia occasionally. He also kamikazes into Ronin. That was pretty funny. Dwayne, this is just the Waylon Smithers of Ninjago, goes from being the assistant of a parody to assisting a corrupt, incompetent Ninjago city administration. Worked his way up the societal detriment ladder. Shouldn't even be here. Milton Dyer. The Ninjago writers really did just wake up one day and decided, you know what this show needs? Gabe Newell. Instead of finding the free Keyblades, would have been finding the free 90% off Steam Summer Sale Anime Virtual Mate dating sims. All I'm saying is that Season 12 would have been over in seconds if the ninja had access to the physics gun. Do you think Unagami went into cardiac arrest when Silk Song released? Sally, this character was so annoying. She just cries the whole episode. You are now a wanted criminal. Hang on a second. Is that woke in my Lego? What if it was called Patriot Jago, and instead of fighting the skeletons and snakes, they fought against free healthcare and cheap renewable energy sources? Anyway, I don't feel anything towards Sally. I do find it funny how she just stole her dad's van and starts harboring fugitives. Gravis. The only reason Gravis is up this high is because of his Looney Tunes defeat, where he gets hit by a conveniently placed sandbag and plummets into another conveniently placed trapdoor. I don't think Gravis does literally anything else in the series, and if I'm wrong, then maybe he should have been more memorable. Hutchins got done so filthy throughout the entire time he was on the screen. He was treated as a red herring villain, like what they did to Shade. Much like Shade, Hutchins is probably dead, because when Harumi blows up the royal family, Hutchins goes in to save them and detonates as well. Also, the Emperor and Empress aren't on here because they do literally nothing for Ninjago. Like what? Were they just chilling in that castle when the Overlord was moving buildings around like he was in the Spore civilization stage? Wait a minute. How the hell did Ninjago City move from the middle of the desert to the coast? Did the Overlord just push it?
The ninja will never expect me to boost the fishing industry.
Jake. Kai really got told off by an 11-year-old when he was doing the iconic ninja special of where, my power's gone. Come on, Kai, this is like the third time this has happened to you, and it will not be the last. Get a grip. Scott. This man has spent 30 years inside of a video game, but he's only got one life left. So he's all reserved and closed off and does nothing because he doesn't want to be a brick. But then he does things and he becomes a brick instantly. Moral of the story, never do things unless you want to be a brick. Also, when he gets out of the game, he's still young, so like most of his family and friends are probably all deceased or really old by now. Also, there is no way this girl with the purple hair is pushing 40 or 50. How do they know each other? Minor plot hole in my Lego show. How obscene. The spirit of the Dragon Core Temple. Place my candles, combine my spirits, and you will learn about the Dragon's cores. But yeah, I don't have anything to say about the spirit of the temple. Raz stabbing him in the chest was funny, so it can go here. Acidicus. This guy and Pythor are the only non-Hypnobrai snakes from the first series to actually show up. Gone from ordering pizza to spouting exposition. Learn about the Golden Master, which was a thing all along. Yeah, that's why we set the Devourer on you. Not out of vengeful hatred, but because of the Golden Master. He's gonna use his gold on you. This makes Acidicus a better historical researcher than Misako, because he actually knew the Golden Master would be a thing. He also comes back in season 11 to spout more lore about Asphera. I like how Scales introduces them to him despite the fact that they've met multiple times before this. Acidicus literally threw Jay in front of a train. Camille got purple hair, and you know, purple is my favorite color, but she can also turn into people. That's pretty cool. Sadly, she's quite underutilized. She just does a race and is a bit of a prick, then doesn't appear all the way until Dragon's Rising Season 2, where she enters another Tournament of Elements, because that went really well for you last time. Blazy H Speed, or Racer 7, an NPC that comes to the real life, which has horrific implications. Does she age? What is she made of? Does she need to eat? Is she a robot? Anyway, she's always programmed to lose, the equivalent of the baby Luigi NPC in Mario Kart that's just always in last place. She then helps out in Crystallize by taking Cole and Vinny to this radio tower thing to call
Some queen.
Princess Vanya of Shintaro.
Cole, you are literally at her coronation. What are you yammering on about? Although, to be fair, a couple of episodes ago, he did get into a horrific road accident. Probably bumped his head a bit. Mother Doomsday. This comic book selling man was in the Grundle episode. So automatically getting points for being associated with such an iconic character like the Grundle. He doesn't really do much though. He just sits in his comic book shop and sells comics.
Loneliness and
Grundle.
are a dangerous mix.
Look, what do you want me to say about background Ninjago character Mother Doomsday? He canonically wears underwear with pictures of the ninja on them. That's something that we know about now. His real name is Rufus McCallender, so he has that. These two police goods. Remember how in like the middle seasons of Ninjago they tried to have like some Cruncher and Knuckle parody? But these two, I liked them. Maybe because it was in Skybound, so characters acting comically stupid in a funny way and not a oh my god, I'm gonna put all of the minifigures into a tumble dryer way. I like how they just think the commissioner is blind, then they get made to walk the plank. Percival Tardigrade, brainwashed child by state-funded media that managed to see the truth and then joined a resistance group to overthrow the Empress. And now Imperium is much, much better because of him. All-round decent fellow. Don't know why he's named after a microbe, but he also saves the world by making the collectible red prism blades you can get with the new Ninjago sets that just dissolves ghosts into nothing. What happened to the ghosts being vulnerable to water? They all just start wearing raincoats. Lou.
Oh, look! A singing competition? I like singing.
This episode was really funny. Why is it always the Constricti that get the funniest goons? Cole's dad is a silly guy. In this episode, Cole comes out as a ninja to his set in his ways father. Is this subtle foreshadowing? Anyway, Lou accepts his son for who he is, and his next scene in a race where he dies in a horrific road accident. Luckily he survives that and jumps Kozu with like 10 other people, and then does a funny song in Day of the Departed, and then gets kidnapped by the Time Twins to work in an industrial factory, and then isn't seen until the very end of the original show. But yeah, he's an ally, a renowned member of the Royal Blacksmiths, and I like his mustache. It reminds me of Bob Burger.
SpongeBob.
Sky Pirates. The Sky Pirates technically help a bit after they all distanced themselves from Narakan after the allegations got released. Wretch and Doubloon get instantly poofed. But Clancy, who I regret not putting up higher on the list, don't know why he was so low. He's a funny guy. I have owned Clancy's figure since 2016. A lifelong friend. Anyway, he has a go at Nada Kada and then he gets banished to another dimension. Flintlock and Dogshank both actually help though, so good on them. Not gonna go over what I've already said, but basically Flintlock might be one of the most powerful characters in this series. Fruit-colored ninja guy. Hey, remember this guy?
Hey, no one here cares for them fruit-colored ninja.
They brought him back in a short mini-series thing. He gets possessed by a bug and tricks Kai into going to a big bug, but then he helps Kai kill the big bug. I don't know if it's specifically this guy, but I think it'd be 100 times funnier if it was. You can tell he's from Styx because he has a stick, irrefutable evidence. He has regrets. Yeah. He regrets being homophobic. That's why he can never return, because he got cancelled. To be fair, I'd be hateful if my name was Bolson, which apparently means desert valley or depression. Maybe the real person that no one here cared for was him. Green overpriced dragon. I forgot this character's name, so I'm just gonna call it the green overpriced dragon because it costs like 140 quid. Anyway, the green overpriced dragon was also in the shorts, and holy green overpriced drag-oli. This animated miniseries figure, look at it, it looks so cool. Sorry, Fundy, but you've been outclassed already as the biggest creature in the series. This thing could wear the Great Devourer as a wedding ring, the preeminence like a gobstopper to it. And Thunderfang would be its pet gecko. I really hope we see more of this animation style in the future. Also, the green overpriced dragon's child was killed by this horrid thing. Kai's like, no, we can't perpetuate the cycle of violence. Kai, what if that thing decides to take a gingerly stroll to Ninjago City? That's getting reduced to a small grey concrete stain in seconds. I think it needs to be put down. Lily. Cole's mother, who the dumbass goblin people keep calling Gilly, and Millie. I used to have a fish called Gilly. I really suck at naming things. Anyway, I like this scene with young Cole and Lily. Very sad. However, this is like the only screen time she gets, so she can't really be ranked that high. Because she's dead. One of the 3 characters to actually stay dead in this show. Making a character who can read minds in a season where there is a big mystery surrounding Chen and his tournament was a bold move, to say the least. Can't he just solve the plot instantly? Just scan Chen and be like, oh, hang on, guys. This man might be a war criminal. We need to kill him. I like how he appears for 2 nanoseconds in Dragon's Rising, where he gets beaten to a pulp by Noct. Xanth and Jiro, I completely forgot about these 2, so this is like a post addition to the tier list. One's a Thunder Dragon and the other is from Ninjago. They serve their purpose as overpriced Lego sets and they look cool. Moving on. Kalmar's father. This man really should not have given Kalmar unmonitored internet access at a young age. He also adopts the goat Benthamar. What is Benthamar, by the way? Is he like the Rattler equivalent of a Merlopian? No custom mold for Benthamar. Also, Kalmar kills his dad and usurps the government. Should really have got a child psychiatrist. Maybe played catch more with him. Encouraged him to go out and meet some friends. Akita's brother. They tried to make us think that this guy was Zane, but he's actually just some guy who could turn into a bear. I don't have much else to say about Kataru. I do not care. Aaron's parents spent all of Dragon's Rising MIA. Then Aaron got gaslit by a tiger into thinking they died in the merge.
Aaron, you need to boil Sora in the casket.
Trap her in a coffin of fire where her soul will be forged into the weapon of a god. Apparently his parents got sent to this false gated community by a guy called Lee, who can clone himself and tells the citizens of his land that reality collapsed. There's nothing left. I like how they start recalling a bunch of old episodes. Hey, Jay, you remember when your wife died? Then they go to the monastery and may or may not have been murked by Lord Raz. Old Shed Woman? Who? Oh, is this character from season 11? Okay. Basically just the Netherrealm equivalent of Sensei Wu. I like how instead of searching the characters' names up online, I just write some incoherent gobbledygook. Tox. I don't think Tox gets a single line in season 4, but in season 9 she comes back as a part of the resistance, and she does talk.
Brown.
Then she isn't seen until Dragon's Rising season 2, where she almost gets turned into a bright green stain on the floor by Noct. Imagine if the Forbidden 5 member that got released in season 2 was Zarked. Lord Raz putting in all that effort just for Zark to get eliminated in the first round. Gandaloria. Why is this coconut thing animated like the Element Animations egg? I like how she calls Raz a kitty cat man. That was mildly amusing. Her voice gets very grating. She genuinely sounds like a feral animal. She also apparently made the spell that banished the Forbidden 5, making this woman thousands of years old. I'm honestly surprised the Forbidden 5 didn't just jump her and those 2 geriatric dragons. Too busy taking orders from Thunderfang, like a bunch of low-level losers. Got the high-score Chica treatment. Can't wait for tie-dye rocks. Mini Pix 7. If it wasn't for this little can-shaped industry plant, Nia, Skylar, Pixel, and Wu would all have been killed in an explosion. Not only that, but it had to witness the deaths of all the other Mini Pixes. Do you think Mini Pix 7 has survivor's guilt? Tier. Why does Thunderfang have a magic red gem that just brainwashes all of the Dragonians? How did he get that? Where did he get the spectral Dragonians? Did he have a second blue gem? Also, Tyr is a cool guy. I like Tyr. Comment down below if you would take a sip from the Dragonian brew. Spitz and Fritz. You know for a fact that at one point Cole beat the light out of Spitz's parents' eyes. Also, Fritz is a formling, which implies that his parents were frozen in blocks of ice for multiple decades. They also live in the land of the Forgort and get adopted by a gay couple and their woke dog, Geo. Oh my god, guys, they're looking at each other. They must be lovers. Even has gay hand powers. Anyway, Geo is a freakish mutant of the Geckos and Munces, so none of them wanted him. Dodged a bullet there if you ask me, Geo not being a side character from Master of the Mountain. Tell you what, the scene in the latest batch of episodes where Geo and Frohickey are just chilling, then Lord Raz just comes out of nowhere and then starts chasing them through the monastery. That was really entertaining. I like how he welds Raz to a wooden post. That's kind of funny. However, Raz then hits him with the spine-smashing special and calmly dunks him into a pit. Alright guys, we've saved the monastery from Lord Raz, but he's summoned his evil master. That's right. The Time Twins have returned. We've got to train to save the day. Okino. Why did they give Jay the same hair as Okino? Get back in that barber chair right now. Anyway, Okino is a tutorial NPC and he sucks. Prime Empire would get rated like 3 stars because a bunch of game journalists couldn't get past his red bug. I like how Unagami has the ability to freeze time and never uses it again. Also, he escapes the video game and lops off the mechanic's hand. Ray, Kai's deadbeat dad. Oh, sorry son, can't raise you right now. A washed up, powerless, middle-aged man is pointing a sword at me. A trained fighter that may or may not still have the elemental power of fire in a shop called 4 Weapons. Whilst I am standing next to another trained fighter that may or may not still have the elemental power of water. Also, apparently, he was the one who sealed Pythor and the Anacondri away. Yeah, Ray, you're supposed to put some food in there, you moron. Oh, they've all cannibalized each other. Well done, dumbass. Anyway, after Hands of Tedium, Ray comes back in Seabound and plays video games for the whole season and does nothing else. Maya. Unlike Ray, Maya actually does something in the show. Like, she actively helps Nia fight a bigoted octopus while her good-for-nothing husband sits at home playing a video game that held people hostage for decades. But yeah, I like Maya, and they should bring her back in Dragon's Rising, because if they brought back Chancellor Coach, then I don't think anyone is off the table. Bemphamar. Poor Bemphamar just wanted to spend time with his brother, but that man was too busy watching alpha male training courses on Molopian YouTube to bother with this desaturated little orphan. However, Bemphamar eventually crashes out at him and breaks Kalamar's crappy little stick, which causes him to get Pythor, and then Bemphamar becomes king by default because the royal bloodline is dead. The Falcon. Where the bloody hell is the Falcon? It always showed up in the early seasons, but then in season 8 they turned it into a jet ski and it explodes. Is that it? Is that how the Falcon's story ends? Anyway, I like the scenes with Zane and the Falcon in season 1, and this scene where it goes, "Wake up, Zane," scared the hell out of me as a child. The Falcon also gets broken a lot, doesn't it? Much like its brother. Gale Gossip. Gale's been there since the beginning. Her and Vinny always reporting on whatever incomprehensible horror is attacking Ninjago City today. Always on the scene. The fact that they're still alive is a testament to their craft. Fred Finley, sorry Gale, but Fred Finley is a 7-time award-winning reporter. You just can't compete with a hard-hitting 8 award-winning reporter looking for the truth. Is so good at his job that he literally makes one of Esphira's mindless magical fire snakes gain temporary sentience in order to report on it. You deserve every single one of those 9 awards.
Wait a minute.
Warden Noble. I like how this guy goes from working at a school to being the warden of a supermax prison. Maybe that's why this prison is about as effective as a baby safety net. This man got jumped by a group of infant children and locked in a cupboard. There's not gonna be any cake. Dr. Saunders. What a kindly old man. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this guy. Just an upstanding citizen of Ninjago, keeping the populace educated on the villains of old, because if you control the public's perception of history, you control how they may take action to prevent such travesties from ever reoccurring. Rescues a family from falling into the boiling sea, heroically reassembles a pair of snake people, rescues a trapped man from a sarcophagus, stops an abusive parent, preserves a critically endangered species, gives his life force to help a dying elderly man become young again, and look at him patiently escorting a lost couple back to their home so they could pick up their tray. Truly, we should all strive to be like Dr. Saunders, a man who puts others' needs before his own and seeks only to spread knowledge throughout the city of Ninjago. Sometimes I think the world would be even better if there was another Dr. Saunders. Maybe if he had some kind of brother or something, then he could really spread twice the kindness in this world. It's a shame that he just appears in like a couple of season 7 episodes and then he just never shows up again. They should really bring him back in Dragon's Rising. Darnagom Enterprises.
Oh, Grandma?
Doing the public a service by taking out that fraud Darif's fake dojo. Just a respectable businessman boosting the Ninjago city economy. Okay, but in all seriousness, the notion of Garmadon just starting up his own construction company just to get a legal permit to knock down Darif's dojo is genuinely so funny. When did he do this? Did he wish for this with a mega weapon?
I wish for a construction company with employees, legal permits for use in Ninjago City, and clean tax-deductible income.
Euphrasia. My favorite part of Ninjago Dragon's Rising Season 2 was when Euphrasia turned to the Wolf Warriors and went, I'm gonna euphonize you. I like how Lloyd goes,
So you're the Master of Wind now? I knew a Master of Wind. He was a twat!
I like the implication that the elemental powers just go,
Oh, bugger it. My master's dead. Didn't have any offspring.
and then they just spin a roulette wheel with every single person in existence on it and give them their power. Ed and Edna, they're just so loving of their son, supportive of his blue antics, even builds him a robot, didn't even get a Lego set made out of it, just to make his boy proud. No monetary gain whatsoever. Unfortunately, you can't have anything in Ninjago, so you get the green virus, where you become green. Another pair of characters that just barely show up anymore. What would they think of what their boy has become? Scales Jr. You've got big shoes to fill, little man, but I think you've got what it takes to live up to the legend that is Scales. So does this mean that the little rattler type Serpentine are just juvenile hypnobrai? Have the ninja just been beating up children all this time? You can tell that Cryptor is an offshoot of Zane. Do you think Scales Jr. has aged into a Mesmo yet in Dragon's Rising? Akita. Isn't this the guy that made Ultra Kill? I like how she instantly gets sick to death of Lloyd's trauma dumping. We all know you go crawling back to her anyway, you sad green man. I also like how she's just out for blood, wants Zane dead, and who can blame her? I bet that walk back to the village after Zane got unbrainwashed was dead silent. Why did Akita kiss Lloyd at the end? It just came out of nowhere, man. Like, can a man and a woman just be friends? Still would be a billion times better than the other option. Actually, I think I'd rather impale my head on a railroad spike than discuss fucking Ninjago shipping. The only Ninjago shipping I'm interested in is when my bloody minifigures are gonna arrive, because it's been like 10 days. Where's Scales?
No, this can't be true!
Mr. Pale.
You mind if I join you?
Disappear, pal! This is private!
Why was Jay so mean to him? He just wanted to eat lunch with you. He's so mean. No wonder why everyone else wanted the ninja gone during that tournament. Mr. Pale is the master of light, but I find him quite charming. He's also one of the only returning elemental masters to actually say anything in Dragon's Rising, and we get to see his real face, which is horrifically shaven because I assume shaving whilst invisible is moderately difficult. He is also one of the elemental masters to help during that one Garmadon incident. Don't know why his shirt just has dollar signs on it, but he looks funny. Faith's faith is challenged when Sensed Sei Wu shows up and is revealed to be the son of the first Spinjitzu master. So she ditches that barren bastard and assists them in finding the firstborn dragon, who actually isn't the firstborn dragon, though I guess eighth-born doesn't quite roll off the tongue. She and the other dragon hunters remind me of the Buckethead mummy plush, so every time I see one of them, this flashbangs in my head. Police commissioner. I like how originally he's like, the ninja betrayed us, but he actually eventually overcomes the cursed realm gas leak that caused everyone in that season to be morons, and realizes, why would they do this? Zane, notorious hater of theme park rides, like you literally had to check any camera and you will see Nadakan's ugly mug staring at you. So he helps, like when he arrests Squiffy and Bucko. Now he just sits in his office painting his boat before being harassed by someone warning him of some horrible event.
A pirate genie?
The skybound trauma transcends time and space. Firstborn. I spoke about Firstborn earlier, but basically she got demoted. I guess Firstborn is like one of them arc dragon things, but the first one, which puts her on the same level as the likes of Focus and that big green one that Nocturne Rocks beat to death, which I forgot to put on the list. Oops. She'd be between the spirits of the temple and Scott's. I don't know. Anyway, the Firstborn does not beat around the bush. The instant that Iron Baron shows up, he's put in the brazen bull. She also helps fight Garmadon before getting blasted. Damn, the Arc Dragons kinda suck. Like, Focus can't do anything unless they're piloted like a bloody 2-player zone in Little Big Planet. And then 3 of them get jumped by the forbidden fumblers. Also, is Thunderfang like her son? Source Dragon of Motion, the only Source Dragon to actually do anything. I like how the other dragon icons we see are this giant hammer and a cool bone sword. Then Motion just gets this dinky little pocket knife. You know for a fact that Raz is yoinking that thing in the next season. Just summon Motion now, Lloyd, and get her to stop the motion of Raz's cardiovascular system. Ultra Dragon. The Ultra Dragon. What did they do to you? I like how for years we had no idea what happened to this thing until one day in season 9 they just show its decaying corpse being used as a throne for the Iron Baron. How horrible. I'm so glad he got melted. There's also this fake piss Ultra Dragon at the end of Crystallize, but I don't think they're the same like at all. Dr. Julian. Where did Dr. Julian get this infinite power source strong enough to blow up the devil from? Again, another Ninjago character that actually remains dead. Probably for the best. Poor guy would be heartbroken seeing the warped perversions of Zane running around. Doesn't this technically make Cryptor and the Ninjoid's parents be Julian and the Overlord? Must be a real awkward Christmas dinner. Echo Zane rotting in the loft. What was up with Echo Zane, by the way? Literally locked this poor guy in the basement and never mentioned him once. Why did he do that? Also, I like how Samakai just resurrects him with a Fortnite mini shield.
Build my skeleton truck.
Also, people wanted me to put the Leviathan on the villains list. But this is a victim. How did Samakai even chain this thing up? Karloff. I like how Karloff just goes from being a prick to being beaten down by the system in the factories. Had a change of heart real quick. Sometimes a bit of forced labor and imprisonment can bring out the best in a person. Then he's seen again during Hands of Time. Also being captured and forced to work in a factory. Just can't catch a break. Skylar. I guess the reason they don't make her a part of the team is because she'd be extremely overpowered. What would happen if she touched the time blades? In season 9, they had to nerf the hell out of her by making her power absorption temporary, which doesn't really make much sense because then how would she have retained all the powers for the spell? She also gets the purple disease from getting Garmadon's Oni powers. Also another Ninjago character to not show up in Dragon's Rising. I could see why she didn't want to go to the Tournament of Elements, considering what happened last time. Princess Vania.
Nice of the princess to invite us to Shintaro, eh, Lloyd?
The only good side character from Earthbound. What? Why did I think it was called that? Master of the Mountain. Another Ninjago character with an evil parent. And like most Ninjago characters, she goes against her terrorist father by diving into this hole when he banished Wu and Cole to go into a dank pit. I like how at the end of the season, Vangelis is like, oh, guys, I was just joking. And then she has him shoved into the dungeons and gets coronated. Antonia. I just find it really funny that whilst Antonia and Nelson are having this whimsical paper delivery adventure, all of the ninja are seconds away from death, about to be boiled alive in searing hot lava. Don't know why they dedicated multiple episodes to delivering newspapers. Do paper rounds even exist anymore? I've never seen that. Is that like an American thing?
A mystic. An Oni.
Not even close.
Serpentine.
Ew.
Also, I like how the resolution for one of these episodes is Antonia foregoing a better career and remaining in a dead-end job. Nelson being the purple zombie. I can always appreciate the purple ninja, elemental master of knee fractures. The only reason he and Antonia are up this high is because Nelson is purple. He's also a tolerable part of Skybound, so that helps his case a lot.
What flavors do they have at the Dairy Dragon?
Chocolate fudge, butter pecan, mint chocolate chip, Ninjapolitan, banana con.
Banana can? What? This is like going to a McDonald's and asking for the big tasty with Hitler. Bonzo. Bonzo is such a strange concept for a character. This skeleton is a physical manifestation of the spell that banished the Forbidden Five to the realm of flights of stairs. But yeah, she's just chill. Zer. His name sounds like a pronoun. Zer is basically like Shade if he was likable. They try the whole, oh, who killed the Arc Dragons? Was it the main villain of the show? Or his war criminal he fished out of the evil dimension? Or was it this random purple guy? Zer then is revealed to be a really swell guy who helps the ninja translate these old-ass texts. He is also the elemental master of Reflex, which lets him get a Fresnel shader applied to him and makes him move fast. Putting Griffin Turner out of a job, gonna be packing puffy pot stickers at Chen's noodle shops. Zant Tans. I like how everyone at the tournament honestly believed this funny snail guy sent hitmen after people. Still, Zant might be stronger than he lets on, being the elemental master of plants, which is a separate thing to nature. So sadly, Balobo is still alive. Also manages to overpower and capture Repton in a green cube. And no, Repton doesn't count for the list. He helps like one time. Villain characters need to help at least like 2 or 3 times for a good reason to count. Otherwise, I'd have to put Pythor, Harumi, and the Sons of Garmy Warmy on here. Also, I didn't put Fugitive on this list because I feel like if he found out he was on the heroes list, he would be sad, and I don't want to make Fugitive sad. Unrelated, but apparently people thought Repton was gonna be one of the Time Twins because he has the same hair as Crux. Ninjago, secret third Time Twin. Anyway, I like this snail, he's moderately funny. Cruncher and Knuckle. They start off as villains, but eventually retire and get into teaching. I would go to school if this was the teacher. After that, they help fight against the Serpentine. Also, I like how Ninjago just has 3 separate realms dedicated to the afterlife. You have the Departed Realm, which is heaven, the Cursed Realm, which is hell, and the Underworld, which is like purgatory, I guess. Maybe Cruncher and Knuckle were good in their life, but did not allow Jesus into their hearts. Wait a minute, they're back! Yeah! They even brought back their goofy skeleton music. Beautiful. I like how they just want to play bowling, but Raz just caves their skulls in with a hammer. Even when Raz is threatening to throw 2 teenagers into a pit of fire, they're just still bowling away. Mistake. I like how Mistake goes from a random background character who sells spiked liquids and goes, "Loads of variants update."
Never heard of it.
To this unaging, shape-shifting Oni that was sent to jump the first Spinjitzu master, but ultimately decided to just stay in Ninjago and worsen Wu's tea addiction. Also, Garmadon then just kills her, straight up just dead. I like how in the next season, Garmadon's like, oh no, the Oni are coming. Buggered. Only someone with Oni blood can withstand them. If only there was some kind of third person with Oni blood that could have helped us. However, Mistake's character is cool, but she does get kind of wasted in my opinion. Not that wasted. Like a moderately eaten bowl of ice cream wasted. Most of it got eaten, but there's still a couple little patches left where you could scoop out a bit more. Jacob. Why were they so mean to him? He's the master of sound, which is cool, but he can't see anything. They make him blind to nerf him. Evidently, the master of sound was just too powerful. He gets put against the corrupt tournament official's daughter. He's one of the only adult characters in the series to use the small legs. And after that, everyone just leaves him to die on Chen's island because they assumed he gets eaten by Klaus's snake. I just find it really funny how they make this guy the most unfortunate soul to ever grace this show. He even appears in the credits asking where everyone is, has the power to break the fourth wall. If he wasn't blind, he'd be able to see you. Rontu. I like how utterly flabbergasted Rontu gets when Raz whips out Source Dragon icon. Just absolutely befuddled. Also, her design's really cool. Sadly, the Lego set version of her looks kind of weird, but I own it anyway because I really wanted to have Zark so I could swing him around by his stupid little chain like what they do to Bowser in Mario 64. The only place you're gonna be brutally dominating is Bowser's Dark World. Anyway, I like Rontu and Ryu's student and mentor relationship, just getting up to some silly shenanigans in a dump, whilst the others are battling undead specters from the fused remains of heaven and hell. Egolt. I like how much of a grumpy prick Egolt was during his first few appearances. Was just not having it. Do not kick a football onto Egolt's lawn. But if it wasn't for him and Rontu, the ninja would have just been annihilated by Raz and his stupid little gong. It was quite sad when he died, but this scene is ruined for me because you know the second that Egolt popped his clogs, Thunderfang and the Forbidden Five instantly jumped him in the spectral lands. Red Akan. I know his name is Arakor, but every time he showed up on the screen, I just say, "Oh my god, it's Red Akan!" Because he's not Akan, but red. Instead of creeping, he's sleeping. So Red Akan survived the destruction of Ninjago because he was somewhere else that day. Do you think they're going to have a plot in the future where he finds out that the reason Ninjago collapsed was because Nia killed the cursed realm? It broke my heart to summon that wave over the preeminent. Also, I like how Redakan can just refuse to grant wishes. Like, come on, man. He's the brown ninja. What would happen if he found the teapot of Tyran? Would Nadakan be chill now because his realm isn't blown up? Would Nadakan even be interested in Nia anymore because she's over the age of consent? The clone race. Throughout the early seasons of Ninjago, there's just a huge mass of identical people. A huge clone armada. Where did they come from? Why do they all look identical? They seem to originate from Jamanakai village, and seem to be somewhat mildly antagonistic towards the ninja, and even begin throwing rotten fruit at young children. But they also seem to be at the mercy of various villainous factions, like they get invaded by the Serpentine on 3 separate occasions. Perhaps the Serpentine knows something we don't, or maybe the clones aren't a threat to anyone. An easy target, just a downtrodden people, beaten by the system, that lash out at others out of frustration. In Dragon's Rising, we see an elemental master with the ability to create clones of themselves. Could the clones be the previous elemental master of Figment? Although the current master of Figment seems to be an underworld skeleton. Could the original clone have died and gotten sent to Purgatory? Maybe the clones are more akin to the recent Lee character, being a hive mind that originated from a barren realm. Or maybe after being attacked by the Anachondrite in the Serpentine War, Jamanakai village suffered so many losses that the gene pool was throttled, resulting in them all looking identical. The minimum viable population of a species is how many individuals are needed for them to be mostly unthreatened by extinction due to disease or environmental changes. On average, this number is usually around 500 to 1,000, which implies that the clone race are doomed. They may be numerous, but not that numerous. They have not returned in years. Last being seen is a member of the Royal Blacksmiths. Could this be the last one? Who knows?
Oh god, they've infiltrated the police force.
The first Spinjitzu master. They really nerfed the hell out of this man. Starts off as this powerful figure responsible for the creation of everything to, oh actually, he turns out he was a bastard child of a dragon and Oni who left an earlier realm to go and make Ninjago. Oh, he didn't actually make the realm, he just went to this big ocean with a big water snake in it and plonked a fat wad of rock there before settling down with... Does he have a wife? How did he make Wu and Garmadon? Did he just do that? Also, he really said to the Overlord, I can't be bothered with this nonsense. I'm gonna split the island in half and make it my grandson's problem. I'm going to bed. Still, he did make most of Ninjago, so good job. Cyrus Borg.
Screw you, Overlord. I'm going to build a giant 5G mast over your corpse.
But in his hubris, he unintentionally allowed the Overlord to come back after his essence seeped into his gaming setup, where he is then brutally tortured and forcefully turned into an agent of Satan. All I'm saying is, why don't you just throw a bottle of water at the Borg Tower server room? What is the Overlord gonna do about that? What would he do if you tried to run 700 Minecraft mods on him? In Season 7, he gets jumped in an alley by the Vermilion and kidnapped so he can build them a time machine. I like how the plot of the season hinges on the fact that Borg randomly added an app that could track distortions in the space-time continuum. Why? Also, I like the way he eats a sandwich. He looks full of whimsy. However, if he didn't build his crappy corporate monument of sin atop the Ninjago equivalent of an ancient burial ground, then the entire rest of the series would just not have happened, because the Overlord wouldn't have been able to get into his hard drive, Lloyd would still have his gold powers, Seasons 4, 5, and 6 wouldn't happen, Time Twins, Dust, Sons of Garmadon, Ash, Oni, Golden Powers. Ice Emperor, because a Sphera would be a pile of embers. Mechanic would have been turned into a pile of bolts. Kelmar would have been a pile of fried squid. And even if the Overlord comes back, they're gonna have to rename Crystallized to Vaporized. Raz and Beatrix, gone, would reduce Cinder to cinders. Forbidden 5 still in the stairwell, and Thunderfang still chained up. This is obviously stunning social commentary on how literally all problems in society can be traced back to the hubris of rich dumbasses. Echo Zane. Dr. Julian got sad after being locked away in an evil tower for years, so decided to build a replacement son. But why did he never mention this? Echo Zane was just locked in a basement for God knows how long. Not only that, but after discovering this information, Nia and Jay, the only ones alive with any memory that Echo Zane even exists, just leave him there after the timeline resets. Why? Mr. E was originally intended to be Echo Zane, we all know this, but this probably didn't actually happen. It's either he gets torn to pieces by Garmadon, or is slowly rotting in a damp room like what happened to William Afton. Ryu, he's just a marketable little guy. He's the dragon from Dragons Rising. He is the dragon that rises. Until Season 2, where honestly he looks kind of goofy. Got that middle stage Pokemon evolution feel to him. I like how the only reason that Kai and Bonzo aren't currently trapped in a prison dimension is because Ryu got his dandruff all over Kai. Literally just spends all the tournament hearing voices. Roby. I find Roby really funny in an ironic sense, like his constant spew of Gen Alpha slang irritated Blecht so much that he hired dangerous criminals and rigged the entire tournament to kill him. I like how Wildfire instantly falls head over heels for him because she's just that enamored by his funny words. Considering she was raised in the wilderness by a dragon, this is like the equivalent of giving a member of an uncontacted tribe in the Amazon rainforest access to TikTok. Also, Roby just gets utterly bullied in season 3. When I was watching the trailer for season 3 and it just cuts to Roby screaming in agony while his life force gets removed, I almost burst out laughing. That took me so off guard. And then it happens again in the same season when his soul gets stolen by Thunderfang. Do you think it was Kerr again that did that? I like to think that Kerr just really hates Roby for no reason.
Did you say want?
Dareth, truly one of the mightiest heroes to ever grace the land of Ninjago, the Grand Master of the Mojo Dojo, the Conqueror of the Stone Army, the Blight of the Sons of Garmadon, and the Brown Ninja. Season 2 might get a lot of flack, but it introduced some of the best characters in this series. We got Soto, No-Eyed Pete,
There's a spy creeping around here.
the Grundle, Gale Gossip, Vinny, and of course, Dareth. It is really funny how he's portrayed as this bumbling, cowardly oaf, but was vital in defeating the Overlord because he was the only one brave enough to put on the Helmet of Shadows. Even tried to stand up to the Overlord himself, only running away after he pulls out one of the Garmatron set's many play features. Even after this, he defends school children against the shark and wins. It runs away out of fear. Sadly, after this, he suffers skybound derangement syndrome and starts being incredibly misogynistic towards Nia for no reason. Do not slander Dareth with this libel. Luckily, Dareth is too powerful for the cursed realm monoxide poisoning and bravely helps Jay to take down Narakan. However, in the Oni trilogy, he starts creepily obsessing over Gale Gossip. Why did they add this? Stop trying to defile Dareth's reputation. Evidently, Dareth was just sick of all this slander, so in Crystallized, he just randomly becomes a lawyer, even has his own law firm and everything. They play him off as being really incompetent, but he manages to get the ninja's sentence down from life to 5 years, and then presumably after Crystallized, managed to get all their charges removed. I know who I'd be calling. He is most recently seen in Ninjago wishing for the power of Spinjitzu.
No.
What a prick.
The postman, no matter where you are, he will hunt you down and deliver the post. Imagine the amount of leg strength required to keep this vehicle afloat. Even when there's a giant snake devouring everything, the postman is there because even when life is bleak, someone has to deliver. Even when the city blacks out after the devil attacks again, who's there to pick up the pieces? The postman. The instant Jay makes a wish to Narakan, the postman is there to deliver the news. Won't get that type of service from some hack courier like Amazon or Royal Mail, or especially bloody Every. Should call it Nevry, because my parcel never arrives. I mentioned this in the villain ranking, but I really like how in season 9 Ultraviolet puts a hit on the postman for literally no reason. Hi Mora, I've spoken about you in 2 Ninjago videos now, so I will make this very brief. He was evil and angry, and then he wasn't. In Day of the Departed, he was chill and told Wu about all of the resurrected goons, and then in the latest season, he was shown guiding spirits through the spectral lands so they don't get sucked off by a dog, just to get slurped up by Thunderfang. The fact that him and Lloyd never interacted at all during this season made me upset. Imagine how funny it would have been if as soon as Thunderfang died, Moro just materialized in front of him. Scales. Scales isn't ranked as high on the hero list than the villain one because he doesn't really do much when he isn't a scheming prick. Just sort of hangs back with a serpentine. He also knew Pythor was alive, so does that mean at some point between season 2 and 3 Pythor showed up at the serpentine's front door? I like to imagine Pythor saw Scales and his wife and son and just solemnly slithered away because he knew it was over. Or more likely, all the serpentine just pelted him with rotten fruit and tin cans. They used the Hypnobrise so much in Dragon's Rising. Where is Scales? Wildfire. We're at the point now where we're actually getting to the main ninja, unless you count Ryu, but like, he doesn't even have a color-coded ninja suit. How am I supposed to tell him apart from the others? Anyway, Wildfire might be the most of the new ninja, because she doesn't really do that much. Just shows up randomly in an Imperium prison. They basically just made a gender-swapped feral Kai. Literally has almost an identical power to him. She's not a bad character though, it's just that she hasn't really had time to shine. Only been here for like 2.5 seasons, and in season 3 she basically spent half of it next to Roby dying in a hospital bed. Also in a recent short mini-series, Wildfire says the word sus, which implies that Roby's TikTok brain is contagious and that he needs to be quarantined. Frack. What the frack?
What did he do? Leave him alone! What the fuck?
I know Frack has had less time than Wildfire, but I don't know, I just really like how after 17 seasons, they finally added a Serpentine to the team. Not just having them skulking around in the sewers or in the background when they do a fake out character death. He's front and center. What type of Serpentine is Frack supposed to be? He shows a picture of his parents, and did they like lose the models for the old Serpentine except for the Hypnobrai? I bet if they still had them, that would be a Venomari and a Constricti. Another character whose parents definitely got jumped, kicked back, and whipped around by the original 4. Anyway, Raz attempts his tried and true method of gaslighting and gatekeeping, but Freck is simply too whimsical for that nonsense, since he is a big fan of the ninja, despite the fact that, again, they definitely beat up his parents. But yeah, Freck's cool, and he also just starts fawning over Sora randomly in season 3, because if they do another love triangle subplot, but with Frack, Sora, and Jordana, I will fracking kill myself. I like how he's called Frack because his elemental power is fracking. How else do you think the ninja afford all these fancy gizmos? Frack is supplying oil to the United States. Sora. They should require Zane and Sora to travel together at all times. When all hope is lost, Sora can always transform Zane into a submachine gun. I do question the logistics behind the element of technology. Isn't that like a man-made thing? Did the Source Dragons gain access to an air fryer and were like, oh, make a power out of that? What actually constitutes as technology? I'm thinking about it too much. Her elemental power is literally generating expensive Lego sets. It was never technology. She's the elemental master of draining people's bank accounts. A stroke of genius from the writing team. How did the ninja get these new marketable mechs? It was Sora. Sora made them. How do we represent Sora's elemental power in her design?
Gaming headset.
Anyway, Sora escapes her weird cult parents.
And I never thought the Empress would destroy my realm.
I like how she goes from being completely unable to use her powers to winning a tournament with almost every elemental master in it. Granted, this tournament was extremely rigged, but she did utterly humiliate an ancient, feared war criminal with a bug.
Alright, Aaron. Now take that man's life. With the Archduke gone, the wildness will be restored to its true glory.
Aaron's my favorite of the 4 new ninja because I find his shenanigans with Lord Raz in season 3 really funny, which I've already spoken about. So Aaron was a super fan of the ninja as a young lad. How many horrific Ninjago crises do you think Aaron went through? At what point was he even born? Do you think he was a post-Great Devourer baby? Anyway, he finds Lloyd 5 years after the merge, and he's befuddled that Aaron managed to teach himself his own home-brand spin jitsu that lets him throw spin jitsu inheriting objects at people, which must hurt like hell. Imagine he throws like a metal beam at someone. Would be like having a soul blade thrown at you. If he actually managed to do it properly on this jet, then Raz would have been sliced like a cucumber. Speaking of that, Aaron was like, Sora betrayed me. She didn't think I could do it.
Well, she thought right. You bloody could've.
Nothing wrong with a bit of insurance. Anyway, Aaron finds out that Wu caused the merge and goes and joins Raz. I already went over what he did in Season 3 Part 1, but in Season 3 Part 2, he follows Raz into the underworld, and then he turns on him when he tries to throw Sora into the Iron Maiden. If Sora hadn't joined Raz and Aaron, then Aaron would definitely be a charred corpse right now. Like this random ass person that Raz just shoved in there. Jay, the first of the original series ninja to be on this list. To avoid these sections being like 20 minutes long each, I'm gonna be as brief as possible because his video's probably already like an hour long. Don't get me wrong, I like Jay. He can be funny sometimes.
He's a living fortune cookie. Everything everything he does is a puzzle meant to torture us.
But most of the time, he just sits in the background saying some wacky and zany phrase whilst they're about to be jumped in an alley or something. Don't get me wrong, you've got to have some balls to be able to laugh in the face of danger, but laughing is something I do not do at half of Jay's jokes.
Giant snake has wee itty bitty weak spot that'll be totally impossible to get at because the thing is too ridiculously huge to do anything to stop it.
Why are you so fucking negative all the time?
In the first few seasons, his main character trait is pining after Nia and being born in a trash heap. Then the writers realized that Jay, Cole, and Nia had nothing to do when they rebooted the show, so they made them get into a relationship drama that is kicked off because Nia does a love tester, and then instead of being upset at Nia for ditching him because of an arcade cabinet, just starts having a go at Cole. He has done nothing, which is a shame because Cole and Jay's dynamic is kind of funny. Also, this man is insufferable during the first part of Skybound. Starts doing some bloody manosphere alpha nonsense. Step 1 of being a Sigma. Never let your woman find the kissing pillow. He's fine in the Oni trilogy, but he doesn't really do much other than propose to Nia or something.
Will you be my yang?
As iron sharpens iron.
And in the 11-minute series, he becomes really unfunny, like genuinely shut up. Only a few episodes into season 11, and Kai wants to have him burned in acid. He also gets another season in Prime Empire. He's fine in that, no qualms. Also, his wife leaves him for a bit and he gets sad and sits in the lighthouse for a year. Is Echo Zane still decaying in that basement? In Dragon's Rising, they mind wipe him and make him all evil. Evil ninja. In season 2, they make him really edgy. I hate you. Me when my wife asks me to do the laundry. In the new episodes, though, they make him into a massive prick, but in a really funny way.
Oh well, it was nice knowing him. I mean, not really.
He also saves Nia from Zarked. Ah, come on, Nia. What's all this about? What does that man see in you? Also, by the looks of it, in season 4, Jay's getting his memories back. Cole.
Wait a minute. I'm still
Burgundy.
Cole's a cool guy, you know? Like,
It would suck if they did absolutely nothing with him.
Lloyd with like 6 focus seasons, and then Cole gets 1 and a 45-minute special. And no, season 10 does not count as a Cole season. They slapped his face on the intro, but the only thing he does is fall off a ladder. That's it. They literally baited the audience into thinking they killed him for marketing. His 1 season is pretty decent if you ignore most of it. They also turned him into a ghost for a bit. I like how whenever Ninjago runs out of ideas for Cole, they just kill him. But he got a cool scar and Dorito stained hands out of it, so not all bad. In Dragon's Rising, he is also just sort of there.
Sometimes more than once.
Yeah, for some reason, every time they do some sort of error in the show, 90% of the time it involves Cole. Sometimes random characters will sound like Cole. Sometimes there will be 2 Coles. My theory is that Cole has a twin brother called Charcoal, who is in every scene, but just off screen. But yeah, I like Cole, but I feel like they just do nothing with him 90% of the time. And when they do, they usually make him suffer some horrible fate. Like in Day of the Departed, the whole plot was everyone forgetting Cole. They're really mean to Cole. Joel. Joel is the best parts of Jay and Cole put together. Part Jay, part Cole. Clearly this puts Joel above both Cole and Jay. Look at how he immediately leaves after Nia tries to rope him into the love triangle subplot. Joel propaganda is also featured later in the series at the start of Skybound, a subtle warning to the audience about the return of Jay and Nia's god-awful relationship drama. Garmadon. Gonna be honest, after the pilots, Garmadon doesn't really do that much villainy. He actively helps the ninja in season 1, and in season 2, all he does is start up a construction company, cheat in a race, and... okay, ignore the part where he summons the devil and the Grundle. We've all been there at one point. All I'm saying is that even when he was clinically diagnosed with being evil, he was still a better parent than Misako. Of course, this isn't considered his second life. But anyway, after the Overlord gets banished with the might of Allah, Garmadon becomes kind and friendly. Now going by Sensei Garmadon, retreats to a little monastery in the woods and swears a vow of non-violence and goes back on it in 2 minutes. After Zane blows up, he chills with Lloyd for a bit before being sent to Chen's Island, where he takes the role of the ninja's mentor.
There's a valuable lesson here, son. If you turn your back on your first evil sensei in an effort to go straight, you may not be served creamy biscuits.
This is better than like 95% of Wu's advice. After watching Clout fumble himself into the cursed realm, Garmy sends himself to hell so the real Anachondri can be free, and get angry at Chen's horde for culturally appropriating them. Anyway, then Nia drowns the cursed realm and Garma dies. Lloyd, they locked me up. Quick, take my clothes. Then that bum Sensei Wu steals his dead brother's house, turns it into a tea shop, and starts seeing his wife. No wonder he was so pissed off when he got resurrected. But after helping defeat the Oni, he eventually revokes his villainous ways once again and adopts a plant and calls it Christophern. What do you mean Christophern is deceased?
Like when Jay ate the host fern thinking it was a side salad?
Maybe that's why Jay's memories are gone. Anyway, Garmadon was carrying Crystallized on his back. Easily the best part of that series. Bring this guy back in Dragon's Rising immediately. The Green Ninja defeating Lord Garmadon was a complete sham. The real hero that defeated Lord Garmadon was Vinny Folsom, the Elemental Master of telling it how it is. Garmadon was so swayed by his words that he moves in with him. Yep, that's what he was doing all throughout seasons 11, 12, 13 and 14. Just chilling in an apartment with Vinny.
Nobody knows where my father is.
Have you tried looking around, Lloyd? Vinny beating you at your job again. Much like Gale, Vinny's always present on the scene, except that one time with the Stone Warriors where he runs away, but evidently he eventually conquered his fear of the new marketable legion of goons.
Ninjago, burn! Burn!
I'm afraid that's all we've got time for.
That's character development. From running away from a Stone Warrior to taming the Prince of Evil. Sorry Cole, sorry Jay, sorry every new ninja from Dragon's Rising, but you just don't bring a smile to my face like Alfonso Elias Frohickey does. I don't know why, but I find Mr. Frohickey really funny. He's a frog. I like frogs. But he's also just such a whimsical man. Everyone is distraught after the merge, so what does Alfonso do? Make some community events, unites the populace together in such a crisis. He's got my vote. Now he works as the caretaker of the monastery of Spinjitzu. Whilst the ninja are out, Frohickey's hard at work battening down the hatches. His interactions with Zane are amusing at times. And I like how he always is trying to get people to drink his bog broth. Also, he saves the entirety of existence by driving down to the crossroads with all the dragon cores. Even when the ninja mess up his hard work, he lightens the mood, unbothered. Also, he threw soup at Raz, which was really funny. Just make Pixel a main character already, like, come on. She takes on a member of the Forbidden Five and thrashes him on her own. That member might be Zarked, but there was also that time she dragged an Elder God back into hell. Definitely a character that has improved over time. She didn't really do much in the first few seasons she was in, just sort of sat around and rebooted before being dismantled and shoved into a USB stick for 3 whole seasons. You know it was bad when Hands of Time gave you the break you needed. Now she was the new Samurai X. Why didn't they call her Samurai Y? Infringing on Nia's copyright there, Pixel. This noir episode with Zane was kind of funny. I like how she just progressively gets more and more annoyed at him. Anyway, she's absent from Dragon's Rising until season 3, where Repton just finds her in a pod. Then she helps Zane battle Noct, watches him die again, and then they both just leave during Thunderfang's tenure as a wad of toothpaste. I bet this is because they couldn't think of anything for them to do and didn't want to acknowledge whether they'd be immune to being soul-sucked, because they're both robots, even though we already know robots have souls because Cryptor came back to life. Maybe he's so bigoted they transcended his software and became the physical embodiment of discrimination, like the Overlord if he paid for Twitter Blue. Kai, the Fire Ninja, once the main character of the entire series before that green poser came along, just chilling in his shop after his parents got to go on a profitable business venture by the kindly Dr. Saunders. He starts off being quite an arrogant prick, completely obsessed with becoming green.
Could I be the
Turquoise
ninja?
Sorry Kai, but you aren't the one with the green number 5 on your clothes. No more main character status for you, mate. He starts to chill out after that though. I mean, a couple of times he gets a bit upset. Also, one of the best scenes in Rebooted is this one where Kai's just pissing about in his car whilst Pixel is berating him, just for him to fumble completely and get caught. In season 6, he starts being a pompous fool once again, causing the entirety of Skybound to occur because he updated his Facebook status. His sister dies because of this. Speaking of his sister, they don't really interact that much. Like, I'm pretty sure Nia has had more interactions with, like, Sensei Wu than she does with her own brother. In season 7, they actually made them interact for once.
I'm here for you, sister.
What the fuck was that?
After season 7, he sort of exists in the background for a bit, and why is Kai's hair on his minifigure so comically tall? Is like a third of his entire body height.
To assume dragon form, we have to jump up, kick back, whip around, and spin?
You're telling me to stop this rise of the stakes, we need to get skybound in this tournament of elements by making our dragons start rising? Speaking of dragons rising, apparently Kai got sent to an evil realm full of eldritch horrors. Apparently when he shows up here in Dragons Rising, he's just gotten done with battling demons beyond human comprehension. What were the Source Dragons thinking making this place? Hey guys, wouldn't it be funny if we made a tormented realm of vile creatures, terrifying beasts of an impossible size who know nothing but hunger, dooming all that fall there to a horrifying death that only the wicked could conceive? Anyway, I like his mentor relationship with Wildfire in the series, since she's basically just season 1 Kai if he huffed the lead paint and watched Garten of Ban Let's Plays. Wait, did he get sent back to the realm of monsters? Zane. Zane is my favorite of the original 4 ninja. Why were they all so mean to him at the start of the series? He just wants to follow his bird. Thanks for the delicious meal you slaved away over the stove for 5 hours to make. Now we're gonna laugh at you because of your pink apron and throw your food around. I'd hide in the fridge eating cheese if someone did that to my cooking, though I wouldn't blame them in that case. But uh-oh, turns out Zane is a robot. You know what that means? Constant mutilation. Yeah, because Zane is a robot, they can inflict whatever horrific injury onto him without the sensors sending them to the cursed realm. This is probably why Zane dies like every 5 minutes. The first time where he stares into the face of the devil, freezes him, and blows him up with the force of a billion supernovas. Was, as the kids say, somewhat good. But every other time after that, it felt cheap. Like when he gets thrown off a cliff by Mr. E. Or when he gets jumped by the Vermilion Warriors and sits on a hospital bed for half of Hands of Time. Or when he gets shot down and explodes into pieces and starts LARPing as the Ice Emperor. Which is another can of worms. Zane canonically spent multiple decades committing countless atrocities in the name of Vex in the Nether Realm. Not gonna look good at the Serpentine War Trials, Zane. But yeah, after the first few seasons, Zane just sort of is there. He doesn't do much. In Dragons Rising, you do basically nothing. Gets more screen time than poor Cole. But literally in the second half of season 3, just leaves. Lloyd, the greenest of all green, Lloyd Montgomery Garmadon. When they want to inflict physical pain on a character, Zane's the go-to. But when you want someone to absorb mental pain and anguish, 90% of the time, Lloyd is the one to receive it. His evil, corrupted dad got sent to the underworld by his uncle. His mother is a deadbeat that leaves him just to not even get all the vital information about the Overlord. He gets sent to the evil school, gets kicked out for being bad at being bad? What do you mean they just kicked him out? Was he just homeless? Then he indirectly causes literally everything in this series to happen when he opens the Serpentine tombs. Then, uh-oh, you're green now. Got all that responsibility dumped on you. Best start training to one day beat up your dad. Oh, and by the way, you don't get a childhood. You get grundled into having to pay taxes. Now get on the island and kill the devil. But hey, just got the Ninjago equivalent of admin privileges, and your dad's okay now. Maybe all the... Oh, the devil's back. The guy who manipulated you as a child is back, and they kill your dad in front of you. Also, you've been demoted for admin abuse. But don't worry, your dad's fine now. Do you know who isn't fine? So your friend's dead, and all your other friends leave you because they're sad about it. At least you still have your dad. Oh, well, at least you still have control over your body. Well, after being fully conscious and watching a ghost that crawled out of hell puppet your body and hurt your friends and family for a while, and then losing to that ghost and being marooned in a parallel dimension, you get saved by your uncle. All good, and oh, and your uncle's completely gone. The only family you have left now is your deadbeat mother.
They didn't win. We lost.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Lloyd. Oh, there's an evil gang of delinquents who want to resurrect your dead father as a warmongering tyrant, but at least this princess seems to be interested in you. Never mind, she actually hates your guts. Organize this gang, resurrects your father who proceeds to throw you through several concrete walls, and then from your point of view, kill all of your friends and your newly found uncle. Also, your powers are gone, so you have to hide for weeks whilst your father conquers the entire country and wants you dead. But at least your friends come back, who then proceed to help you fight your father. Also, your ex had a council estate fall on her. But uh-oh, turns out an evil fog attempts to destroy the world. And now you have to work with this resurrected parody of your father and almost die in the process. All seems well for Lloyd for a while until, oh, into an evil ice realm where you're trauma dumped to a wolf for multiple episodes. And oh, into an evil video game where you have to fight a digital version of your ex. And oh, Nia's dead. Oh, all your friends are gone again, but you can save her. Sure, there's a couple of legal loopholes you have to jump through, but I'm sure the people of Ninjago that you've saved an innumerable amount of times will see. Also, your abusive ex is back, rallied up an entire team of people that despise you, including the guy that summoned the Devourer. Genuinely, Harumi is such a moron. Also, the devil is back again, and in order to stop him, you must get helped by your father again to contort your body into a vile form for 10 seconds, and then go gold again and share Satan like a glass pane. But all is well in Ninjago. Your friends are all together, the people love you again, your dad is good again, and oh, reality collapsed in on itself and all of your friends and family are gone. Oh well, at least you find these two orange and pink kids with their funny dragon. Also, you rescue a god, and he gives you visions of all your friends dead, and links you to their plane of existence where their forms are so incomprehensible you can only fathom them as a 2D image. This also gives you horrific premonitions for months, resulting in you failing to stop your friend from being banished into the nether space and having to fight in a rigged tournament again, just for that orange kid you found to lose all faith in you and leave you for a deluded tiger man. Oh, there's a giant 300-foot dragon that steals your soul. At least they dealt with it. Oh, it's back. And your reward for finally stopping it is becoming an enemy of God and having your powers removed. And now you are marooned in an unknown plane of existence. So yeah, Lloyd, pretty traumatic fellow. Need to put him up high for trudging through it like a champion. Nia. Much like Lloyd, Nia has also gone through the most development, gone from being yoinked by Samukai and dangled over a pit to destroying hell itself. I just find the fact that Nia has the uncontested highest kill count in the series to be really funny. This is why she's the best of the ninja in my opinion. Just 2 entire realms were annihilated in one single move. That's like 1/8 of the entire universe destroyed. And then she kills another godlike creature. Wouldn't it be funny to stick rocks to the ground for a bit? Arakor. remove that man's spinal cord. As a stupid idiot child, I did not catch on to the fact that Nia was Samurai X, so was actually flabbergasted when she took that helmet off. The less said about the love triangle thing, the better. Do I pick the blue or the black wire? Just goes to show how much of an improvement Nia has had over the years. For example, now she can waterboard people. Hunted would have went differently if they performed Chinese water droplet torture on Harumi for vital information. Seabound is probably my favorite of the 11-minute series, and Guess Whose mug is on the center of that poster. She's also one of the ninja that doesn't get completely sidelined in Dragon's Rising. Also, she gets divorced, but now they're trying to make it work for the kids.
Sensei Wu.
Right, now Sensei Wu might be completely incompetent and forgetful, but honestly, it is really entertaining watching them come up with new ways of fumble never before seen to pile onto this geriatric old fart. My headcanon is that the spirit smoke has clouded his mind after he keeps huffing it. The reason he didn't say anything about any of the rogues gallery of Ninjago is because he forgot. I like to imagine at the start of season 7, Wu looks on his calendar and sees a big red circle with the words Acronics Day written on it, and he quickly bolted it up to the monastery.
A sphere, huh? I don't know what you're talking about.
What's that? She's outside?
Lloyd, the merge, Lloyd. I'm gonna merge without looking. No, Lloyd, I'm a gold orb, Lloyd, help me. They put me in a box. Get me out of here.
He's also the character that says long before time had a name, which is what I use for every single transition in this video. Truly the glue that holds the show together. The perfect balance of wise and stupid. The funniest character in this series. Half this show would not even exist if it wasn't for Sensei Wu's forgetfulness, cementing him as one of the very best characters in the show. Okay, here's an honorable mention because this character is technically not a hero in the show, but Acronics is a hero in a different way. He doesn't save the civilians, but he saves us, the audience, from turning the television set off during Hands of Time. I rated this man far too low on the villains list. I might not have even made it through Hands of Time if this funny little man didn't show up playing on his Borg pad. So what is the best supporting character? The king of the minifigure catalog, the greatest hero Ninjago has ever seen. Chokan, the kindest soul in the series, only striving for kindness and joy. When Garmadon wants to spread evil and misery, Chokan provides an alternative, a giant ham sandwich, sustenance for him and his brethren, and he is punished for this, thrown over the side, but the impact of this decision is felt. More Serpentine ask for the sandwich, sowing the seeds of their inevitable redemption. When Sensei Wu offers him some tea, he doesn't take advantage of this kindness and attack him. He accepts it, just wants to enjoy a beverage with his new friend. But alas, he is punished for this too. When Doubloon is rummaging around the sewers asking for directions, who lets him know where to go? It's Chokan. And what does he get? Insulted. When the Serpentine need to win a singing contest, who's up on that stage giving it their all? It's Chokan. Whilst he's providing free construction service for Scales, digging out their future home, what happens? Punished. Again and again, Chokan is punished and kicked down by the world, but he doesn't give up. He is too pure of heart. It'd be so easy to just give in to hate. But he doesn't. He prevails. Even when the Golden Master is attacking Ninjago, who's up on the front lines evacuating the very people that once oppressed them? Chokan. Because you don't need special powers or spinjitzu to fight evil. When strategy or muscle are not your strongest skills, rely on whatever strength you have. And that strength is kindness. Because he's the guy you want to watch your back for you, the underdog of the Ninjago world, the type of person everyone should strive to be. We all need a Chokan in our lives because he is in it for the glory of a better world, a kinder world, a world that Chokan deserves to live in. Well, that's it. That concludes my extensive Ninjago hero ranking. Some barely heroes at all, and others the face of kindness itself. Also, please don't take this list too seriously. Genuinely, I'm sorry if your favorite character got outranked by Mr. Frohickey, but Thank you for watching, and remember to like and subscribe. Goodbye.